beautiful scenery of Chengdu. We got some pretty seriously hot pot. I know our producer, we went for hot pot one time, and she kicked my ass because I cannot take spice. But, yeah, I'm not a spicy guy.
Oh, no.
I don't do spice. I can do like a minimum, but like...
China, or at least, you know, the Sichuan region, definitely gets you to love spice.
Well,
it forces you.
It forces it upon you. Even McDonald's here is spicy.
Yeah, a lot of things here
Yeah, a lot of here is spicy. But I know it was our producer, Rose, is like, was like, this isn't spicy at all. I was like, oh, cool, great. And I just went like,
boom!
Oh, no.
yeah. Don't trust the spice at, like, they will get you to eat it.
Yep.
And they will basically like, yeah, I don't taste it whatsoever.
Yeah,
they taste it. But for them, it's like, nah, I don't. Basically, they're just trying to get you to eat it. And at the same time, up their status to you. So you're like, oh my goodness, this guy can take like 10 out of 10 spices, basically.
I'm not used to it given my my Irish palate, but we're bringing away from food back over to the game. Of course, we are going into game 2 of OMG versus DMO, and DMO, they're looking pretty damn good. We keep singing our praises, but like they just kind of impress us even more and more the longer this kind of win streak goes on.
Yeah, they're one of the 10 spices. I think Dominus has definitely shown to us the level of growth that they were able to come into the split with. Because I was an naysayer for Dominus, still slightly am as a team, because I feel like they're kind of figuring out all of their errors really late into the game. But they could be that guy to be able to cram, put in the work, and have that passing grade and find themselves in playoffs. And I think that's really the journey that we're talking about here. The fact that they were able to understand a lot of the solo lanes needed to be shored up. Natural came in and was able to provide a lot of work. And now, there's a reason why Mr. MVP is the MVP. It's going to be GALA, because he can come into a lot of these team fights and just be pumping out damage. He doesn't have to worry about the early game nearly as much as he had to in the past.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like they kind of shored up everything they needed for him to become this MVP.
Yeah.
Only second of the season, but obviously, we're still seeing them kind of transition into that team that they want to be. And this was just an opportunity that presented itself, and GALA capitalized.
Kind of just testing Icon in this situation. Forcing him out of lane was his ultimate goal. He didn't expect what was about to happen, which is Icon sticking around, chucking a potion, and thinking that he can essentially all in on him. GALA played this one out perfectly. It was more so Icon really having question marks on his head of why he even took this one. So a lot of these replays come out and you have more so Icon low light reels. But at the end of the day, the person who ultimately benefits is GALA, who's playing these team fights excellently.
And GALA, right position, right time, almost certainly every single one of the times. And even here, you can see it, like they know they're not going to get the Baron, they immediately go for the fight. Yeah,
exit strategy for OMG. Even if they pick up Baron, where are they going to be going? Who are going to be essentially running out? So they fully commit to the fight, great. But it's going to be like Twila that sticks around at full HP. GALA who stick around are like 90% HP. The carries of this team were largely untouched, while the main frontliners of OMG were completely destroyed. So we're just talking about outright ability to teamfight at that stage of the game. I mean, we talked about it pretty heavily about the mid-game and how well it was for Dominus, and of course being accelerated with the team gold that they were able to throw in. So at least Icon is in good mood. Too often times after losing the first game in the fashion that they do, they come into the next game pretty down. And so I like the fact that they're still keeping high moral.
Yeah, got to. Unfortunately, there is only pride to play for OMG right now. We've run the maths. Even if they win this series 2-1, unfortunately with game scores and everything like that, they just cannot get ahead of 8th place.
Yeah, at this point, the best they can do is tie in points against LNG if LNG literally loses everything.
Yep.
And even then...
In 2 O's.
Exactly. And then even then, they still lose the head-to-head. So that's the situation that OMG's in. So, I mean, all of that, I suppose, to a certain extent, the burden is lifted off their shoulders. They can just play however they want. Also a great change coming into this one. It's going to be Xiaopeng coming in, and Aitong, who was pretty damn good in the last game, going out.
And I like this flexibility coming out from DMO. They're showing that they've got 2 incredibly talented junglers. We saw Xiaopeng last week on that Lee Sin. So scary. He was setting up as a team 100% for the early game. I'm glad to see the 2 of them are really actually sharing that that jungle role.
Yeah, and I think it really goes to show the faith that they have in both junglers and in the system overall. Because at the end of the day, usually when you make these changes, both roles suffer. The player coming in, lack of confidence, wants to make a good showing, of course, doesn't play to his ultimate ability. And the player essentially going out, who's had that full roster for the beginning of the organization. And I'm talking about Xiaopeng here, who's been kind of seen as top 3, top 4 junglers in the split. And then maybe that's a huge hit to his confidence. No, he's just as confident as he was when he was the mainstay jungler.
We are into picks and bans for Game 2 of this best-of-3 series. DMO on the blue with OMG on the red. We have a switcheroo. We see Renekton, Ezreal, Irelia banned with Karma, Yuumi, and the Olaf as well. DMO, they've got a couple of options. What do they want to prioritize? It looks like the Xayah. All
right, Xayah coming in, first pick. That's when you start to really, if you're OMG, do you take the Rakan away? I think that you'd want to. You don't want to give Dominus both the Xayah Rakan in that combination.
It looks like OMG, you're going to be forcing the hand, or DMO going to be forcing the hand of OMG. Maybe that Rakan does get locked in. And Rakan, not in any way, shape, or form a bad support, even without the Xayah.
It's just a tough call because then you're saying, well, we're just going to have a bad laning phase because Rakan provides a great amount of CC, but really poor strength within the lane to skirmish. And so as you could tell, 30% win rate to his name when he's actually a pretty high pick rate champion. So this is the difficulty around with it. A lot of the changes that came to the champion makes it so that shock and awe engage that he had in the past, a lot more readable. And you need to have a good amount of control wards and set up for the ultimate picks that he goes for.
Aatrox locked in as well. Could go to Icon, Curse, or World 6. Kind of flex between all three. We'll see what DMO want to respond with. It looks like they just want to lock in their bot lane, get the support in, and it's almost certainly going to be the Nautilus in bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you can just pick up any tank engaged support that they all do well versus the Rakan. Makes it harder for the Rakan in any situation for like to a team fight because he's going to put himself at a risk. So nice pickup on the Nautilus. I want to be able to see what Dominus ends the first phase with. Oh, this one's good. I like the Poppy, but still, Camille has been Natural's pick. So now that he has that pick, knowing decently well that he's going to be going up against the Aatrox, even if he goes into a worse matchup, he's a pretty good top laner to be able to kind of shed deficits, kind of lose gracefully. I want to see if that's going to be the case here for OMG going into the second phase themselves.
OMG making sure that they don't lose as many AD carries in the bans in the second phase. They do lock in their Sivers. So there's the bot lanes and what we would assume would be the top laners for both sides locked in. OMG do have a little bit of flexibility with that Aatrox, of course. And they ban the Nidalee, so straight away, they're just taking away any kind of Xiaopeng pick.
Yep. 3 picks. You better believe that those picks were for Xiaopeng. Xiaopeng has been a pretty damn good Nidalee, although pretty low win rate. That just goes to show Dominus hasn't been a good team in the early portion of the split. So now that he's got that second chance of life and they're starting to breathe pretty fresh air, I mean, you'd want to be able to give Xiaopeng his best option. That is if you're Dominus.
We'll see now what exactly they want to give him. Lee Sin's still available unless OMG ban it out right now. Don't want to see a Karthus because we've seen that a couple of times as well. Yeah. Silas is also there. I think
Rek'Sai would be the pick that Dominus would want to go for. But also remember that OMG still needs a jungler themselves. Aatrox can be there, but you'd want to put the Aatrox in the top lane, give something pretty comfortable for World 6 would be a Rek'Sai themselves, and then start to think about the J4. It's been a trade that's been happening during this series.
Kragus locked away in the ban cupboard, as well as the Silas, and like you talked about, that Rek'Sai locked and loaded for OMG. What did DMO respond with?
Now, you would expect it to be the J4, but what's going to be really fun is the fact that you have a Camille alongside you. Camille and J4 are very similar champions in how they're able to engage on fights with their ultimate, so that's just going to be an even easier way for Dominus to start fights whenever they have to, because they have the Nautilus as well. See if that's going to be the pick that they go towards.
Hovering the Corki as of the moment would be a very safe blind pick for Twila in that mid lane. They will lock it in.
Oh, I know it's just a hover, but what does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah!
Could go with the Poppy, so
you expect it to be a Poppy jungle versus the Rek'Sai. I mean, if we're just talking about what the Rek'Sai stops, or at least the Poppy stops, yeah, sure, it stops the Rek'Sai, makes Rek'Sai's job a living hell. But also, guess who makes the dash happen for their engage? Rakan does. Like, just about team fights, Dominus actually makes OMG's engage points incredibly difficult. Nice lock-in coming in from Curse.
All right, Fiora locked and loaded. They want to be able to put that Camille to the test, and That's a lot of AD coming out of OMG.
Yeah, no AP options. And if you're Dominus with a pretty damn good front line in the Nautilus and the Poppy, it's kind of like a win now type of deal, or split push. I very much don't see OMG looking for team fights later on in the game until, let's say, you get that 5-item saver on locked down and loaded. But even then, you have a Xayah on the enemy team, and across the board, not only do they have good, diversity in damage between AD and AP, talking about the Corki and the Xayah, but we're also talking about the split push since we were initially talking about the pick up the Curse has here. I mean, you have Natural on his go-to pick in the Camille. So I'm liking Dominus' pick and ban a little bit more.
I always love a skill matchup as well. Fiora, very much kind of who she can repulse
yes.
and what she can repulse. If you get a big old ability out of that, it can be huge. However you mistime it, you're in a bad spot.
I really enjoy this matchup because I remember when it first came online, and we've been seeing a lot of Camille versus Fiora matchups. The Camille has oftentimes played very smartly into it, knowing that they can rank up hookshot and just kind of play around with the cooldown. Say they can, hookshot to a wall and then hookshot away. See if they can bait the W coming in the riposte from Fiora, knowing that it has a far longer cooldown, and they can just kind of go for another engage off cooldown. So those are the kind of mind games that you would love to see coming into this matchup.
We are locked and loaded. The coaches have shaken hands. The lineups are on the screen. DMO looking to 2-0 OMG, and OMG, they're out of contention for playoffs 100%, but they want to be able to play for a little bit of pride as we jump out onto the Rift.
Pride and some highlight reels. Let's get something going coming out from OMG. All right, calm down. But Xiaopeng going towards Predator, that's going to be a good one. Of course, that just means that he's going to be prioritizing pretty heavily, farming up one side of the map, going back to base, getting his boots, and then actually going online and seeing what he can get out of the side lane. So we talked pretty heavily about what he denies from the Recon, technically Icon as well if he wants to just dash away with his E. Certainly the Rec side, but also the Fiora, so can find a gank coming in on the top side of the map if he wants to.
I want you to explain to me as well why this Poppy jungle, what she does, and what is her kind of opportunity, windows of opportunity for her to help these lanes.
Well, I mean, she is a pretty decent ganking type of champion if we're just talking about, finding herself on side lanes and using her wall slam effectively. She does need a way to get into the lanes. So it's why I appreciate the Nautilus on the bot side of the map, the Camille up top, so there's ways to essentially set up for that gank. And then a lot of the times you actually just think about it as in the idea of just team fighting, but Natural is going to be in a tough spot.
Ooh, loses level 2, flash, but there's the turret shot. That shield coming out clutch for Natural, both flashes burned.
Really, really clutch shield, as you said. That passive needed to come in and certainly needed to flash. Really good early laning phase coming in from Curse.
See Curse just trying to keep something here. There's the hook shot, goes
no.
in. Oh, baited and outsmarted.
But this is what we talked about. Like the Fiora W has such a long cooldown. And so for certain, Natural knew, oh, you're sticking to the wave. Well, good luck. I'm going to fully engage on you.
Natural needs to be careful though. World 6 is here.
Help.
Has got vision of it. It would be a very risky dive to do. The minions haven't hit it just yet, and Xiaopeng is around.
All
now
right.
he knows it's there. Oh, World 6 is between a rock and a hard place right now. There's the steadfast presence. Going to be able to do it. The wall does not get hit, but it doesn't matter. There's a flash and a kill. 2 solo kills effectively for Natural.
And you better believe Curse saw that, recognized that, and said, you're on your own. Send him off at that stage because it's a full committal for a long time. And sadly for everybody around him, Xiaopeng was in the area. So you asked about what the Poppy was going to be providing, and a lot of that comes down to denying the enemy team having pretty good damage early on in the game versus the Rek'Sai, and that steadfast presence that locks him down and allows the carries around him to thrive.
That's a tilter as
That
well.
is.
Like
It's
that
good.
for Curse, who looked like he was having such a strong early game as well. So we see a bit of an engage.
No.
Ignite goes down. 5 has to back away. Great trade there for DMO. And OMG, they're just not finding answers right now.
It's the subtlety that kind of is a miss when it comes to the OMG roster, because you're right, Curse 1 is lame. Just based off of how that early thing played out. And to be fair, he won up until he committed to the wave, because if he left that wave, to be fair to him, that wave is screwed for him. He needs help to come through. But then you should be, pretty happy with that. You should say that, have confidence that your jungler will come back, go back to base yourself, go back onto the field, and that your jungler will help you push out. But he didn't do that. He was like, I want an answer now. So he dies, and then the Rek'Sai comes, and then he dies. And now we're in this situation that is all screwed up.
It's like in those the LPL mic checks, where it's like after a fight where someone went in 1v4, and it's like, I think if I played better, I could have won that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I think I've seen like far too many LPL players say that within the mic check.
That's why a lot of the times your focus kind of turns towards a coaching staff for the team, because these mistakes happen far so frequently, not only on the top side of the map, but certainly the mid lane, as we saw in the last game, that really all of this comes down to just basic communication. That is it. You're communicating between you and your jungler, and I don't really care for a lot of the decisions that they make around, like, who's going to be the jungler. Is it going to be, like, World 6 since they're committing to him right now? Is it going to be Pepper, who they've been using? Like, who is it going to be? Just pick somebody and then form the communication around that player. Because, as you can tell, it's not working out.
World 6 is on the Ocean Drake as of now, but here comes the Predators.
Nice.
They're just going to jump in. Xiaopeng knows that the steadfast presence is going to be able to counteract this Fiora pretty damn hard. 3-0 natural.
The double whammy. Not only did you get bumped by that steadfast presence, but you got knocked into a wall. It's this type of stuff that you love from the Poppy. A good change that Poppy ended up getting through the patch. The reason why we're seeing her a lot more frequently is the fact that now she gets the grounded stat for the enemy team. So if you get hit by steadfast presence, you're grounded for 2 seconds. You can't flash for those 2 seconds. You're slowed for those 2 seconds. Especially in those ganks, that means a lot. Especially in team fights, makes it easier for your team to be able to nail down a specific target that gets locked down. So that's why you're going to be seeing Poppy a lot more often.
Definitely could see her being picked up maybe a little bit more towards playoffs as a hard counter to someone who's trying to get this split push going. And World 6, he's trying for something, but they've pinged him quite a few times. There's a good ward there in the Raptors. They're going to get a push back off of this one here, but here comes Poppy again. Xiaopeng has got flash. Does not want to fully commit to it. I like the temperament there. Did not want to go fully in, knew the Rek'Sai was around.
Yeah. I still like the idea that OMG has. Ooh, okay. All right, we're going back to base. He has heal too. Oftentimes you pretty much see, teleport as a staple in the bot lane. You can see why teleports are pretty damn important. Now he's going to send back to base, go back into the lane, and lose a lot of pressure underneath their turret. In fact, might lose turret plating for all of this.
Now World 6 is around as well. Xiaopeng is here.
Goodbye.
There's 1 turret plate. Maybe they get 2.
Oh,
Just take it's a long walk of shame back into that lane for GALA.
This is why something needs to be done about teleport. Just does so much for your team. Combat effectiveness of heal is great if the lane is inherently aggressive, but Kane doesn't care too much about that. The Sivir and the Recon right next to him could deny a lot of pressure if anything gets on top of them.
If everyone takes a certain ability or a certain rune, is it broken?
A certain rune, is it broken?
Or anything, like any kind of like, if it's a must-have for everybody, is it broken?
Yeah, it is.
Flash.
Flash broken.
You think it's broken?
Yeah, Flash is broken.
Because everyone takes it?
Yep.
It's just like everyone has to take it or you're pretty much trolling?
It's a necessity.
Okay, good
A lot
to
of the
know.
times, because it's such a staple and because that discussion happened so long ago that's an accepted truth, not a lot of people have that discussion. It's essentially a part of the game. So.
Yeah, it's almost like you might as well just leave it. You get Flash and then another ability.
Yep.
Do you remember Surge? Was it Surge? The old summoners?
do not remember the names of the old summoners.
One of them was like buffed up a minion. It was like buff up a cannon minion.
Yeah.
Basically made it like a Baron minion in one wave randomly.
And then it became an item, and then it was so broken that they ended up taking it out of the game.
What was it called?
Siege, I believe. I could be wrong.
Siege minion, that was it. Or I can't remember the exact name of it. I'm sure someone in Twitch chat or on Twitter will be able to let us know.
I'm notoriously bad when it comes to memory. I've had to make documents about like champion item, or at least champion names, and not names so much as just their abilities and all that.
Yep.
So
it's a lot. There's 140 odd champions in this game,
yep.
all with 4 abilities and a passive.
Doesn't help this old man here. Banner minions is what they're called.
Banner of Command, that's what it was. Banner of Command is G. Engaged there, but Xiaopeng, excuse me, able to pop down the Steadfast Presence, gives him a nice one. And GALA is just taking so much punishment in this lane.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of pain here. That heal not helping him. I'm sorry. So at least this time around, OMG's bottom lane's cashing out. And that gold lead that they currently have is nice, but seems to be a larger gold lead up in the top side of the lane for the enemy team.
Advantages for the bot lane of OMG, but advantages for DMO on that top side. 3 kills. You already got the Ravenous, or sorry, the TMAX, excuse me, half of a Ravenous Hydra available for you. Went for the early Ninja Tabbies as well, so knows that this lane is almost certainly going to be him and the Fiora almost exclusively. Has got the Poppy coming in, as you see on the map. They're going to do it. There's the grand challenge. They're going to try and jump on top of him. They will get the kill. Perfectly executed dive from DMO.
Xiaopeng comes right into the turret range too, and just as he does, then you see Natural using his ultimate to juggle aggro. So this is just pretty brutal for the Fiora. We talked about the small interaction between E and the riposte that Fiora has, and then that just has been the focus of Xiaopeng and Natural.
And what we talked about a little bit earlier, we talked about how Natural has a great way of losing the lane gracefully.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I love is as well, we're seeing the same being said for, you know, GALA and Mark. Yes, they're behind. Yes, they're not as, you know, high in CS. But they're not dying. They're not constantly losing, you know, a huge amount of gold over to the side of OMG. They're just kind of going, right, this is our limit. Let's back away. Let's play respectful. And yes, we're going to go down, but it's not going to be the worst.
Well, it seems to be an all-in coming through, but 5's going to get out of there easily.
Yeah, this is going to be Icon teleporting in on top of this as well. Immediately gets rooted up. 5.
Oh, come on, help.
Takes 2 turret plates, and over-aggression from OMG. They will potentially be able to take this turret, but they haven't got the health bars.
Yeah, so that setup is really weird. They knew that Rek'Sai was not going to be in the area. They essentially just tried to double down here. And just gets out of range as riposte comes through. This is not a good lane here for Curse.
No, and look who's back here as well. Flash is available for Curse if he really, really wants it, but he doesn't even need to get anything there, as Natural just solos him, and that's going to be Rift Herald dropped immediately onto the top side.
This is just one of those games, you know, everybody has them. Don't lie out there, you've definitely had these games at least 10 times, all right? This just happens to be on a stage. It happens to be in front of your home audience. So, you know.
30, nearly 40 CS, 4-0-1. We talked about how natural his pick is this Camille, and right now we're seeing why he either gets the last pick into counter matchups or it's just usually bad.
And so I want to talk about what has been, if I get given the time, let's just hope that he doesn't go for the engage. 5, calm down. 5, thank you. This is a pretty disingenuous discussion that ultimately happens when it comes down to player talent and being on poor rosters. And so Natural, great player, going for another all-in. I'm sorry. Goodbye, Curse.
Grand Challenge was used in response to the Hextech ultimatum, but Natural just basically trying to get cooldowns out of him.
But then, a lot of the times, people start to rail a player when he's on a poor team, when he doesn't get the support, and they only essentially look good when they get put into a roster that obviously has their early game all sorted out. And so, Curse having a bad time, goodbye.
Flash engage, there's the riposte, but he has got some jungle help now, and actually he might not even need it. No flash for Natural, he's going to be waiting for that hook shot. He will get it, but it won't be able to get away from the clutches of the Rek'Sai.
At least the jungle attention is there. It's coming on back, right? We were talking about it, and finally he gets some help. He was there for a reason, everybody. He was there because World 6 came in, baited you thinking that he was just walking to another wave aimlessly. Thankfully, OMG responded back.
Natural really wanted that Triforce before he went back. That was literally why he went for the kill. You could tell he's like, I have enough for the components, but I need 300 gold.
That feels bad.
Yeah,
always feels bad. It just makes you feel like, oh my god, I want to stick to the next wave, but every wave is being taken. At least in competitive, there's some level of communication, so you can steal a wave or something, or take a jungle camp from your man.
Sneak
but,
it.
Yeah. Don't let him know. I'm taking your Krugs.
So you just take him and hope that he doesn't ping you. But item parity definitely going to be on DMO's side as we look towards some finished items. Triforce now finished up for Twila. You've got the Cinder Hulk and Ninja Tabis for your Poppy, so she's in a pretty decent position in terms of a mid-game power. Still waiting for your Essence Reaver, though, for the Xayah. And Triforce now finished up for Natural, so far so good. Still only got, realistically, the Essence Reaver for Kane, and that's kind of it if you're looking at the side of OMG.
Yeah, it kind of hurts that OMG's only strength is pretty much on standby. Can't do too much here.
And good pressure from DMO. Realizing there's not much for them to take up on the top side. They've already taken the turret and the Fiora's life many times.
And they rotated the Camille into the mid lane, so now she denies Icon from being able to take turret platings. Don't play this too aggressively, though.
Here we go. We're going to see the aggressive push in there. There's the World Ender popped
Wow.
out, but the Void Rush going to be there from World 6. And Natural, this is where it kind of gets a bit scary. Now you're giving over time and money over the side of OMG.
You lose a lot. It was still a great idea from Dominus to have Natural in the mid lane, but his sole role is to just hold the wave and then rotate if needed towards the bot lane. But unfortunately, essentially puts himself so close to Icon that Icon can just all in on him. So unfortunate that he puts himself in that position and gives OMG an ability to trade.
Yep, they trade out 2 turrets for 1, a kill.
Yeah, OMG literally won that entire trade.
Yep.
They didn't lose anything on the bot side of the map in terms of just people. Like the Sivir and 5 both lived through all that, but here comes the gauge on Icon.
There we go, flash into the old, oh,
Wow.
That's so unsetting. Mark's going to be stealing that one with the dredge line, but that's just a feels bad, man.
I mean, this Poppy's looking 2 steps ahead.
Let's have a look exactly how Natural, like you said, I think he just overstepped his mark.
Yeah, Blue Smite 2 coming in from World 6. Probably didn't expect that with how many junglers are taking Red Smite these days, but he able to close the distance. Didn't even need to do too much, but unfortunately overplayed his hand.
Natural needs to be careful. You've got this lead, don't throw it away. You know, it's very much, you've been given a situation where you absolutely just destroyed the laning phase. Don't ruin everyone else's phase, you know?
And think about it this way. He lost that top lane turret because of that. Camille, knowing that his bottom side of the map was doing so well, could just rotate to that huge wave up top side, but lost so much because of it. So if he stayed alive, just literally just kept alive, that trade works well in Dominus' favor. Now it went completely in OMG's favor. But because of the quality of these two teams, it's a bit of a bouncy castle. Yeah, picks happening on both sides, and now you're just going to have to wait for the next mistake to come through.
Natural still feeling good, still feeling strong, as he should, because the Poppy is here. There's the Hextech Ultimatum, going to be able to pop him in place for a little bit. World Ender has been used. The Predator run in, Predator run out.
Yeah, Aatrox has a lot of sustain. Get out of there the moment he pops his ultimate. And another thing, too, is they just don't have too much vision in the red side jungle. Make the obvious assumption that the friends on OMG are coming alongside to help the Aatrox.
Yeah, they did randomly disappear.
Where could they have gone?
Yeah, it's like, I wonder how long this Aatrox can last.
I found some trails here leading up top side. I think we need to call this one off.
Got a bogey in the wire.
Yeah.
Not quite sure why we're doing a buddy cop thing. But
well, you know, Manhunter on the Rift is always something that I wanted to see. There just needs to be a literal man on a horse as a champion, and he can just track a movement of a champ. I'm just putting out ideas.
Like a Canadian Mountie?
Yeah.
Just get like someone who's just kind of like goes down, touches the ground, even though there's nothing there, and goes, he was here 4 hours ago. How do you know? I just do.
I have an idea.
DMO still 4,000 gold ahead. A little less, but feeling pretty good about it. Have equaled up the Ocean Drakes. Mountain Drake will be spawning in 20 seconds.
Both teams definitely want a hand in this one, so it's going to be on Dominus to be able to secure the vision around here. It's going to be tough for OMG. In fact, OMG shouldn't even try to contest for it, simply because look at all this. Look at what we got here.
Oof.
Wow.
Swing and a miss there. As I say that, though, Natural jumps in straight away. Going to be forcing 5 back. And like you said, I don't really think OMG could fight this, but they're going to try it. There's a good steadfast presence onto 3 people.
Honestly,
back away.
Dominus shouldn't look for fights. They should be kiting backwards rather than trying to force forwards. So fighting for mid lane pressure is nice, but don't overplay your hands with how much essentially fadeaway damage that Kane has here with his Q.
Gotta be careful. You either kill the Sivir. Oh, they're going to engage straight away. There's the death charge as well. The quickness had come out. So there's Mark going down. They will finish off the Dragon. TP coming in off the backside as well. Flashes are being used. There is the Keeper's verdict. The Keeper says, I shall not use it today.
Yeah, we cool. You know, Marcus, he's dead. God bless him. But now we got that Dragon. So Mountain Dragon there for Dominus. They can play this one defensively. Let's see if World 6 finds his prey.
Good respect here from DMO, knowing that they have not got vision or control on OMG. Gonna give up that one.
They know where they're at.
They know where they are. They're going to try to clear this wave. There's the engage. Just get the flash W, but they're underneath the second tower. They haven't. They're between two sticks here, and I don't think OMG are going to come out of this very well, as we're going to see Xiaopeng coming in on top of this. It's a double kill for the Corki, maybe even a triple kill for the Corki, and 5's in no man's land. Natural sweeps up that one, and OMG, they overreach.
I don't think that worked out, BP. You're just going to put that out there. You know, I like the idea, but something tells me they're overplaying a little bit.
Between the sticks. Between the sticks.
I like the idea. The execution was a bit far.
It was definitely wanting, I think is the word I want to use there. And DMO, it looked like they actually kind of got caught, you know, with their hands in the cookie jar, trying to get, you know, too much with the mid lane fight. They tried to force, and they were trying to take the Dragon. It looked like OMG had an opportunity, but unfortunately, that window is very much closed.
I just want to see how much gold this Corki actually has now. He's been CSing fairly well. To that one, 197 in 20 minutes, pretty decent. Another thing too is the fact that he has Klepto to his name, and the 3 kills on top of that. He's a pretty damn rich individual.
Here we go. Hextech Ultimatum has been met by the final challenge. And there's going to back away, but you feel like Natural feels more comfortable in this matchup the longer it goes on. Yeah,
but at least the sustain is now there with the Rabbit and Hydra. But going in between 2 turrets is pretty damn difficult. When they finally got the kill, he was going to be tanking turret HP. Curse is going to be, but there's no exit strategy there for Icon and Kane, so great slows coming through from OMG initially, and even Twila baiting in Aatrox, but this was pretty damn funny too. Ooh. Cancels him out with his hook shot, makes it so he couldn't even travel that extra bit of distance.
We see a Thornmail finished up there for Xiaopeng on this Poppy, so he's just becoming an unkillable machine, and this is the problem when you go, you know, kind of later and later on in this game. The tank, the front line of this Nautilus and Poppy combination are going to pick up more armor and more things that you just can't deal with.
This is going to be tough by every measure. You're right about the fact that the Thornmail coming through on Xiaopeng, and Natural should be able to get out of here pretty easily.
You say that. Forced to flash, though. Give him respect.
A lot of respect. You know, I thought that he would have had enough movement speed from the Phage proc on Trinity Force that he would be able to get out of that one pretty easily.
Did notice his entire team was going top, so had no backup, and the rest of OMG was heading down towards him. So I feel like he definitely gave it the respect it deserved.
I take those risks.
Yeah.
I'm a man of risks, all right. I'm going to play it close to my chest.
You're the guy in my solo queue game. He's just like, I got this, as he goes in for a 1v5 Baron as you're the top laner, like you're not even the jungle.
I've learned for the next game. You may not benefit from it, but about my experience.
Yeah, I had fun, and that's all that matters. And right now, DMO, Mark playing as the bouncer, keeping away everybody from OMG. They're going to realize far too late that this Baron was going down. DMO picked themselves up another Baron in this series, and talked about it last time. It never feels like they're out of control.
Yeah, and I love that about Dominus right now. It really does remind me of their play last split when they became such a powerhouse through team fighting, right? They were the team that upset top esports during the regular season for good reason. They played well around a confident jungler in Xiaopeng. They had good team fight, you know, IQ around their major frontliners, and they had great backline and talent in Twila and GALA. Now they're going essentially back to that with renewed confidence in Natural. So, I mean, the road is pretty damn nice for Dominus. We'll just have to see if they can make that run with LNG, EDG swinging in their way.
Definitely something they've kind of, you know, built upon. Was not a good start to the season at all. Only really kind of turning it around once they took down JDG. And able to kind of make that run now. But like I said, if you look at their wins, they've only taken down Rogue Warriors, LGD, Vici Gaming. It's like scalps like, you know, the likes of RNG and FVX is when we actually start thinking about whether or not they can make playoffs. But at least there is still an opportunity for them, and they're making the most of it.
Yeah, and it's fun to be able to see that kind of pride and hope within the team. So we'll see how it goes. There's been far too many splits in the LPL that have been decided in the last day or the last week of that split, where a team makes that run or able to get in. And it comes down to those like nitty-gritty, the small like tiebreakers. Like once upon a time, remember clearly, I think it was LG, I think it was Team WE that got bounced out of playoffs simply because of, you know, head-to-head didn't match. It was points didn't match. They had to go down to game time. Like those are the kind of points, and thankfully that doesn't happen anymore.
It is a little silly to go to game time.
Yep.
It's seems a little unfair.
Yeah, but even head-to-head matters so much because of the fact that you only play against that team once.
Here we go, potential engage. World 6 jumps in, but not able to get anything. There is the keeper's verdict. Pretty much off cooldown, just needs to use it as a deterrent. It's scary as an ability on its own. You don't even have to use it. It's like the Blitzcrank hook. The fact that you have it is scary enough. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Mind games.
Feels bad when your W has, or your post has, like what, basically a 15 to 20 second CD timer. And then the hook shot, now at max, pretty damn quick.
So 8 seconds, 7 seconds, including CDR as well. So we see DMO playing OMG at their own game. OMG would have loved to have had a Baron buff and a split push going for them. As you can see, Curse trying to deal with Natural, but just can't really deal with all 3 lanes being pushed in by DMO.
You got to expect Dominus to start rotating towards that bot side of the map. We'll see. I mean, GALA's being opened up on here. These are, you know, them playing around that tightrope.
30
playing
seconds.
It close to heart. Let's see what gets. Oh, Natural's just going to go straight for it.
Yeah, don't blame him. He's going to be able to break it open at the same time as the bot lane turret is broken open as well. OMG, you need to decide where you want to go. The next fight could be your last.
I love that. Poppy just bopped out the Rakan and said, we're taking this turret, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Double mountain as well, so DMO, their split push is pretty damn strong.
And they made the best use of the Baron buff while it was on them. So the fact that they were able to get essentially, you know, 2 inhibitor turrets, that is, quite a lot of damage, a lot of gold denied through jungle camps as well, and then going right back onto the map to essentially do it all over again. Dominus have had a pretty fierce grip on the map.
They've got themselves an 11,000 gold lead at this stage, so that Baron buff, I would love to see it. We'll see it pop up exactly how much they got from it, but I'm going to say it was around the 4,000 to 4,500 marks. They just, again, similar to game 1, they just took down every single structure with OMG not really able to contest.
Yep. I mean, it's going to be pretty difficult for OMG to ever find that opening in the map. If I look towards their team, really, the only thing they can do is say maybe 5 can find a member, and maybe Mark, maybe they'll have enough damage to take him down before the rest of the gang comes in. But mostly, it has to be the amount of gold that 5 is accruing for himself. He's got himself the Trinity Force, thankfully. He's been farming up quite a bit into the jungle camps. If they could buy for enough time so he can be a real split push threat, go back to that skill matchup between him and Natural, and then maybe come out in a small victory, that's what we need out of OMG.
Next Baron won't be up for a little over a minute. You can see DMO just prepping the red side jungle in anticipation of this. They've got Natural pushing up in that top side. Bot lane is a little ways away, but is still very much pushing in DMO's favor as they look to try and take down the 3rd and final inhibitor turret. Just keep out the vision away from that Baron until it spawns.
All right, let's see what we got here. Icon.
Icon needs to be careful. We're going to see a 3v1 as we're going to go golden. There's 2 people going golden now. Natural just waiting for the rest of his team to come in on top of this. Flashes and use the hook shot to get away. We're going to see 2 flashes there from Mark and from Kane, but that's going to spell the Rek'Sai going down. No jungler available. 1 inhibitor goes down. DMO have the waves.
Pretty slick spell shield coming in from Kane, but at the end of the day, it's Dominus taking their name on the map. Top lane inhibitor. Mid lane inhibitor. Now the bot lane inhibitor. Someone draw the line in the sand.
You've got no engage outside of the Rex or the Rakan. You need the Rek'Sai to be able to go in with that kind of dive buddy, and you can see all 3 inhibitors falling to the wayside. Baron up in about 10 seconds. That's going to be pretty much as easy as you like for DMO.
All right. At this stage, for me at the very least, I mean, Dominus is showing pretty good consistency against lower tier team. you would want to be able to see them go up against a top team like RNG and FPX and perform, be able to compete. Taking a look at this play, I mean, Natural's just testing his limits here.
Yep, wants to see how much he can do, and you can see they invest so much into them that he just buys enough time with the stopwatch.
And then Spell Shield, nicely played by Kane. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're still playing defensively. There's nothing you can do that's stopping Dominus as a team to push their will. If they can get Twila here.
He has got the package, so is actually in a very safe position as we see the TP coming in. Twila says, I want this game to be over now. Will sacrifice his life, so it's a 1-for-1 trade as we see Natural trying to jump in. Hextech ultimatum has been popped off as well as the Poppy jumps onto the front line. Steadfast Friends going to stop anybody from running around, and there's just too much gold. There's just too much damage. There's just too much DMO. And they're going to be able to take this series 2-0.
All right, they put in a big effort. OMG tried to at least defend on that final fight, but it was Dominus that came in the Chengdu strong and ultimately took down OMG in a 2-0.
Dominus continuing their win streak up to 4 series wins in a row, second only to RNG, who are sitting on 5. And OMG, their season may be over, but there's a lot of things they got to play for right now. We talk about pride, highlight reels, but can't take anything from DMO. Played well, looked consistent, and looked in control.
Yep. Good stuff coming in from Dominus. At the end of the day, you look towards him, you just wanted to see a level of consistency that was, you know, relevant in the last 3 performances, and we're seeing that. Good stuff from the organization, and I mean, just from the players. I want to see who gets MVP here. I think a lot of it comes down to Natural, as you can tell.
I'd love Xiaopeng to get it, though. That Poppy. Didn't set up a lot. Definitely Natural going in for it. I feel Natural will get it, but definitely want to see exactly how they go for it. But DMO, they're feeling good. They're feeling happy. It's exactly the kind of performance you want to have before you go up against RNG in your next series. And again, you know, 30 minutes, clean, a couple of small misplays every now and again, but if you shore them up a little bit, you should potentially be able to kind of take out, you know, anyone in the top 8.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dominus have shown it pretty easily in the spring split. They've had a lot of surprises. Playoff performances definitely shining through. And I mean, at the end of the day, we need to be able to see this team reach that former glory. And I think they're making steps to doing that. And the only time you can really believe it is when it happens. So mark it on your calendars. The next 3 series is going to be fun for that team.
I believe Rome's on fire when I see the ashes myself, as they say. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the SKT thing. It's like, I'll believe SKT lose a World Championships when it happens, and of course it can and does happen quite a lot in a lot of the regional leagues. Yeah,
and I think that, I mean, what's interesting is that kind of story about teams coming into the LPL through, you know, promotion, much like, you know, from the LPL, and people ultimately look at that team and expect a little bit of the worst, right? Because there's always that question of, can that team, can those players provide a good amount of competition in a Premier League like the LPL? And we've seen pretty easily that Dominus have been able to say, yeah, actually, we're damn good. I mean, in the spring split, they've shown that easily in playoffs in their first split. And in the summer split, they come in, and sure, there's a lot of easily doubt based off of the current lineup, but they adapted so quickly where most teams would usually wallow in that kind of space and have a lot of faith within all those players and the coaching staff, and they wouldn't want to make any changes too quickly. They'd made those changes, and now they're benefiting.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, having the back-end staff to, like you said, realize the small little, you know, hiccups in your lineup and making slow, small changes rather than wholesale, let's change everything as quick as possible and change how we view even the game. Yeah,
so it's good stuff. Like, they kept that same identity, which is good. GALA is still able to come in team fights and able to pump out a lot of damage pretty safely as well. You don't want to just look towards a player and say, you know, from split to split, split 1, team fighter, play those Kaisa kind of, you know, Kaisa, Xayah, all that, and then go into spring split and say, oh, summer split that is, and say, lane, you know, dominating laning phase, try and take down these big cats like Uzi and all that just through like playing Lucian and all that. You don't want to make a major shift in champion pool and play style. You just want to be able to say, okay, this is what this player is best at, is what he's been playing for the last 2 years in, like, you know, developmental leagues and now coming into the big leagues, and you want to be able to see him perform when he's most comfortable.
And for OMG, it's all about development. It's all about, you know, as the nicest way, it's all about kind of thinking about 2020 as they are officially out of playoffs.
Yeah, and too many people think about development as in change everybody, change rosters, and also just keep the same players, but have them really learn something, like on stage consistently. If World 6 is going to be your jungler, keep him as your jungler. have him work alongside Icon, understand him, really try and find real growth. And same goes for the top side of the map. Too many times in this one series, we saw those mistakes in the first 9 minutes.
Yep.
So definitely keep those players, please. Unless if you find like Knight version 2 in the top lane. Like if you find somebody big, then you pick them up. But for the most part, they're all players who are at the same skill level. They just need to be able to have that time on stage.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think for OMG, you know, they won't be happy. I think that's definitely one thing we can agree on. But like you said, like, you know, they're still finding out what they want to be. They're still finding out what is their identity as a team. And for, you know, going against DMO, who have found that identity, it's always going to be an uphill battle. It is.
It is. I think OMG, their identity has always been, and I think they've been trying to strive for kind of, you know, an assassin kind of Icon-esque team play. They've always been that team. When LeBlanc was in meta, then you play around Icon and you empower that LeBlanc early on in the game, but that hasn't been the meta for a very long time. It's worked out well for them when Irelia, and technically she is still a really good champion to be able to throw into the mid lane, but I don't think they've ever been comfortable kind of supporting that style, unfortunately. So that's something that OMG definitely need to work on, and also just finding a Robin, you know, a Robin to that Batman. It used to be, you know, play towards Icon and then have Icon bridge towards SMLZ in the mid to late game. They don't have that player anymore. Technically, Curse is that person, but they haven't been there to support them consistently. And so it's just more so them trying to kind of fit the pieces together.
Yeah, it was interesting as well. Like for Curse, had honestly a pretty strong game 1. Like I actually thought he looked incredibly good on that Silas pick in game 1. But in game 2, just, I keep saying overreaching, but it really was. It was them kind of going for a little bit more, a little bit too much every single time.
So in game 1, for me, it's the what the hell happened in the first 5 minutes, or at least first 8 minutes around mid lane, right? That entire sequence was crazy to me. And then game 2, you know, the dive onto the inhibitor turret when really you're trying to focus towards the inner turret mid lane, right? There are multiple moments where you're saying decision making was pretty poor on an individual basis, and then at the end on a team basis. And I think they just need to run those kind of rounds consistently to be able to come to the right calls, have the right communication line picked up. So those are what we need to see from OMG. It's kind of hard because a lot of that work gets done behind the scenes. We just see the product, and the product isn't good. It's just like,
yeah, unfortunately, if you were in NALCS, not buying shares in OMG, but we do have our man of the match.
Who is it?
It was Natural.
Yeah.
After picking up several solo kills, you can see him there. He had a pretty damn good match on Camille.
Yeah, you just want to see it happen, and it's pretty iconic that he gets that MVP against his former team. The team that he debuted in professional play with, now he then can just move towards, you know, a new future. And this was a pretty bad position to begin with, but set up for something wonderful, which is sticking around. Knows that
Level 2's coming.
Exactly. Level 2's coming, and Fiora is just going to be kind of sit around here.
I love this because he actually baits this out so well. He knows the way he's pushing into him. He just needs that one minion to die, and as soon as it dies, he goes back in. You can see it now. Boom, level 2, there it is. And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, I've had good eyes on that one and just playing it out as patiently as possible. And this one was fun. I attribute this
was
one
30
to
seconds
Xiaopeng.
later.
Exactly. So this is the debacle that we saw on top side. So it's just really funny to be able to see both game 1 and game 2 pretty damn similar in the early game. Game 1 happened around mid lane. Game 2 happened around top side of the map. And so it resulted in a pretty awful laning phase there for Curse.
And what I love, we talked about it in game 1 as well. DMO, they're not reliant on just one person kicking off and going absolutely crazy. They have multiple carries in multiple lanes. Game 1, Natural couldn't do anything. It was all on GALA. Game 2, GALA was left on the back foot with Natural literally picking up his own solo advantages and making sure that his team had as much as they needed going forward.
Yeah, and I think this team struggled a little bit in the middle portions of the split because they needed somebody to be that talent. They needed someone to be that Curse, that icon to be able to take over. But then they found their groove as a team, kind of like Spring Split. And so they can go back to this whole playstyle, rely on each other once again, and it's paying off.
And for DMO, next match is for them, RNG.
Yeah.
The tough one. But
guess what's our next match?
I was just about to say, they're going to be able to see their opponents before fighting them. RNG versus TES in our match of the week coming up. and I am very, very excited.
I want to see it. I want to see it get done. I love both of these teams. I think they're showcasing an immense amount of stability in both these rosters, immense amount of growth. Both these teams from spring split to summer split, different kind of beast, honestly. So you want to be able to see what happens because this is the only time they face off against each other in the split until playoffs, perhaps. We're going to see some fireworks.
We're going to maybe see some fireworks. We're going to send it to a break, and when we return, we will have that match of the week. Top Esports versus RNG when we return.